Welcome to the Fast Cars, Fast Girls podcast with Abby and Molly. I think we finally found our permanent intro music.
You did, and I'm sad. I'm going to let it roll for a minute while we warm up the tires.
No, we should be ashamed of ourselves for forgetting about the Beatles.
I mean, I was raised on them, so.
I know. We have no excuse.
No excuses.
Yeah, let's warm up these tires.
So, today we're going to be hitting up some news, because some news finally happened.
Finally,
we got some news. We'll kind of continue our little discussions about safety topics, and today we'll talk about the safer barrier and the catch fence for like a hot minute on the fence.
Yep.
Of course, shit we didn't make up.
Our favorite.
Our Women Crush Wednesday. Sexism is back again. So we'll talk about that.
But it never really left.
It didn't go anywhere. But it's back. And then we will end this with a very special bonus interview with my dad. Because he's kind of exciting.
He is. And it's his transplant anniversary this week.
On Saturday, 5 years. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
We're excited about that.
We are. All right, well, let's get right into it. So, we got some news.
Finally
some news.
The racer gods heard me, and they said, okay. Then
we will give you a little bit.
It's a lot. Can we calm down? Whoa. So, first and foremost, Rossi and Marco.
They're switching numbers.
They're not getting married. No.
Although, some people have questioned Marco. But, apparently he married a woman this summer, this fall. So we hear. But yeah, so they're changing numbers. So
that's
the problem.
That's the problem with Marco, is that he's driving the wrong number.
Yeah.
So he will now be driving the 98 Herta Andretti Autosport car, and Rossi will be in the 27 Andretti Autosport car.
I don't know. I'm weird. Like, there's some numbers that I like and some numbers that I don't.
Get that.
So if I had a car number, I wouldn't be too keen on changing it.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of goes down to, like, superstition, to your, like, rituals and everything else like that. Like, yeah, I completely understand that. And apparently the whole reason is because Brian Herta has been calling strategy for Marco for 17 season, for this year, 2017. Yeah, I can't do 2017. I had to make a note. And it was apparently weird to have him call strategy for one car while co-owning another one.
Huh.
So they felt a number switch was the easiest way to do things.
I mean, I guess. That seems interesting. I don't know. If I were Rossi, I wouldn't be too keen on it. I mean, he won the Indy 500 in the number 98. I think that I would want to keep the number 98 till the day I died.
Yeah, they can pry that number out of my cold, dead hands.
Yeah. I mean, granted, should he ever leave Andretti Autosport, he would have a different number, so...
Yeah, that's true. True.
But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, who knows? Well, because, like, Takuma left, and he couldn't take 26. Like, he didn't take 26 with him. That's Feach now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, it is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that happened. The crew is staying. Rossi tweeted the crew is staying. Although there's maybe one engineer or a swap of an engineer. I'm not 100% on that one.
So other than that, he'll still be working with the same
same crew and all of that.
Well, I mean, that makes sense to me.
I think so. And I don't
know why you would change, your entire team just when you change a number.
Well, most people wouldn't. But if, the little prince that can't...
That's true.
But I am happy to see that...
Yes, he would just ask his daddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that Rossi's staying with his crew, because I felt like towards the end of the season, like, they had really, like, you could tell, like, he was really synced up with his crew, and that's a good thing. That's what you want.
It is. Well, and like we talked about in the past, I mean, that breeds that consistency that makes you a really formidable driver and a really formidable competitor.
Yes.
So, but yeah, very interesting. Well, and I guess Marco got his Christmas gift early.
Yes.
He got a new car.
He got a new number. Thank you, Santa.
I wonder if it came with any strings attached. Like, fuck it up this season and you won't have a ride.
I mean, at some point, At some point, a rational human being would go, you know what, this just isn't working.
Your ROI is just not good.
It's not.
Your return on this investment is just not working out.
It's
at some point you have to look at it black and white business-wise and be like, there's probably a better driver we can put in this car.
I mean, let's allow us to start now.
I'll fire him. Okay, I get it. It's a hard conversation. Not a lot of people are good at firing people.
You know who would really like to fire an Andretti?
Well, yeah, your dad.
He'd be like...
Your dad would love to do that.
Yes, he secretly liked firing people, too.
I am not surprised in the least by that. You know, my dad did as well. We come by it. Well, okay, he didn't like. Yeah. But if they needed, like, if they really deserved to be fired, he was like the king.
Oh yeah, I mean, Dad's not like he's not Scrooge.
My dad. Okay, so I'm going to take a sidebar.
Go for it.
So this is an epic story of Joe Meyer firing everybody that he was working with at a job. So he had a job, and they were doing surveillance. That was their main prerogative, and so he had a whole team of people with him. And they had all this super nice, camera equipment and all of that. And he had suspected, because the people that they were surveilling, they hadn't gotten any good intel on. Mm-hmm. And they kept saying, oh, this person's not doing anything, they're not moving, we go to watch them, they don't do anything, this and that. Mm-hmm. My dad thought it was a bunch of bullshit, because he did undercover for half of his life, and a lot of that is surveillance, and so he was like, I think this is bullshit, there's no way this person is doing this little, like, that we're not ever seeing them, but then they're still a big player. And so he thought that some of the other people he was working with were not, in fact, doing their job. So he made up a fake assignment for them to go on, sent them all out, and then he went and surveilled them. And and took photos of them not doing their job. Of them, like, going to a hotel, going out to eat, like, just fucking around the entire time. And so they all showed up on Monday morning with pictures of themselves on their desk of them fucking around, and their notice that they were fired.
That's very epic.
Like, did it all on a Friday and had everything waiting on their desk Monday morning.
Somebody's at them Kinkos.
Like, that's definitely from the book 1001 Ways to Say Fuck You.
Rolling up with a picture of you fucking up and your resignation notice. Like,
right, yeah.
Bye.
But yeah, that's wouldn't really work for Marco. But I'd be happy to. I mean,
if necessary,
we can step in, have that,
fine.
Have that conversation about managing expectations.
I mean, maybe he needs to just. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, how many times can I beat the dead horse before call? Like, okay, let's see if this helps.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. Jack Harvey.
Yeah.
And Shank Racing with a Schmidt-Peterson partnership.
Yes.
Which is awesome. So a multi-year contract, at least 6 races.
Yes.
So St. Pete, Long Beach, the Indy 500, Mid-Ohio, Portland, and Sonoma. Mm-hmm. I wonder whether they're not going to try and throw the Indy GP in there as well. I mean, you're already in Indianapolis.
And I think a couple of these are tentative. But yeah, when I was looking at it, I was like, why is the Indy GP? I mean, you're there the whole month of May.
You're already there anyway.
You might as well just be like, yeah, let's lump it in.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Honda engine. So that puts Honda up to, so apparently their limit was 13. Their lease limit was 13 engines for the season. And then 18 at the 500. So for the current, like for the season, they've hit their limit. So that means if Carlin, Juncos, and Harding all are coming in under Chevy.
Okay.
So that was interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't realize that they limited them.
I think Honda itself said, like, this is
where we're stopping.
This is where we're stopping, which is why there's been the discussion of, at some point maybe adding a third manufacturer. And I think that the chassis is supposed to help with it, but that's further on down the line.
Yeah. I'd be excited to see a third engine manufacturer.
I think everybody would. I don't know who. But yeah, somebody else needs to jump in.
Yeah.
It's always open.
It is.
Engines.
All right. Well, and then we've got the amazing race starting January 3rd.
Yes, with hashtag Team IndyCar.
Hashtag Team IndyCar with Rossi and Connor. Although it's IndyCar-ish right now, as we await to see if Connor will have a ride this year. But
still waiting.
Because
there's still a few, where Coyne's spot is still there. Carpenter's Road Buddy still hasn't been announced.
That's true.
And
and then the other teams that may or may not have a few showings this next season.
Yeah, we're still waiting on kind of that official. Like, did Harding... I don't ever remember seeing something official from Harding.
I don't either.
I mean, everybody... It's happening. But
they haven't...
They've not been like, they're a huge, like, ta-da, we're going to go full season or whatnot. And so maybe they're still ironing things out.
Yeah, and figuring out what's feasible for them to do this season and all of that.
But, I mean, because they hired... oh, my God. Brian Barnhill.
Yes.
Yeah, they hired Brian Barnhill. I mean, Gabby Chavez is out there doing all sorts of shit for them on their social media. Like, it's there. They just need to come out and say what they're doing. Yeah. And so does Ed.
Although we know he's busy moving moving locations from
He is
Main
moving.
Street. Yeah. So they're
Still
a little
unhappy
busy.
about that.
They are a little busy at Ed Carpenter Racing right now. I'm unhappy about that as well, but it's okay.
It's okay. Bell Helmets is coming to the Main Street.
I saw that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So
Yeah.
I hope that they do, like cool tours and stuff. I hope that they've
That'd be
got.
kind of cool to do.
Yeah, I hope that because the Dallara building has race cars on the inside.
Yeah,
And they've
it's
got
so pretty.
It's beautiful, and they do tours, and
They
just
rent it
have,
out. Yeah.
Yeah, they have all kinds of photos and just cool things to see if you're interested in racing at all, or even if you're not. I think it's still cool.
It's still
to
very
see.
pretty.
So I hope that Bell Helmets does something similar to that.
I do too.
So that it's feels like a very accessible
Front,
business.
Yeah. So Team IndyCar on the Amazing Race starts January 3rd.
January 3rd.
See what happens.
Set your DVRs.
Or your parents' DVR in my case.
Mine as well.
I
Mine as well.
don't have a TV. It's
No.
fine. It's fine.
All right, tire rule change.
So the couple of news articles came out about proposes. Now these haven't gone official, but so with the new chassis, Firestone's been working on the tires. One of the big things is they want to change the composition. That's a hard word. So that the soft reds don't last as long as the blacks. So apparently, the reds should not be lasting as much as your primary blacks are, but they're finding that they really are. Mm-hmm. And so they're looking at perhaps changing the compounds one way or the other. And let's see, Phoenix, Long Beach, Detroit, Texas, and Iowa also will be getting some extra tires. So the teams will get an extra allotment of tires.
Well, that makes sense. If the Reds aren't going to last as long, then, making up for that, because that's going to be an additional pit stop, which, again, goes into strategy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're only allowed to use X number of sets of tires,
Yeah.
and we're going to make these not last as long, then you should be able to.
Maybe we should give you some more. And I think part of that also is that, teams then it encourages them also, because they use those tires all weekend.
Yes.
So it encourages them to be out on the track more.
Yes.
So then people start showing up for your practices, your quals, on the smaller races. People will show up earlier to see everything because teams are going to be out there. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, because nobody wants to show up early to a race and then see two cars on the track the whole day.
I mean, I've listened to many a practice on my headphones when I was taking the dog for a walk, and they're like, well, nobody's on the track. And I was like, well, this is boring, but I don't want to switch off because what if something happens?
Yeah, what if somebody's going to get, as soon as I switch off, somebody's going to get on the track.
Shit's
Something's going to happen
happen.
and I'm going to miss it.
And I'll be angry.
Yeah. Well, interesting. And then Indy 500 points. What are they?
Quals. So the qualification points. So everywhere else, you sit the pole, you get a point. Indy, you get, I don't know how many points you get for sitting on the pole, but everybody gets a good, healthy chunk of championship points.
Yeah.
So the thought was they might perhaps do away with that. Because I guess people are not happy that Indy is a double points race.
Well, fuck them.
I know. I was like, no.
It's the GOAT of races.
I mean, I'll give them the qualification points.
I mean, sure.
Fine.
But double
Other than
points
that,
for the race? If you don't like that, get fucked.
Because I tried to figure it out. So I went 2017 to 2013. Although it wasn't the greatest kind of data to look at because Dixon polled twice, and Dixon is a great driver. So even if he didn't poll, he was gonna finish high in champions, which he did. Hinch polled, he ended 13th, and then the other two poll sitters were Ed, and Ed's a bad data point, and I'm just going to say that out loud.
Yeah, because he doesn't participate in all the races.
I think 2013 was his last year, and so he polled Indy, and then he finished 13th, but then 2014 he polled Indy. He sat on the pole. I'm sorry. Polled Indy sounds dirty somehow.
Sat on the pole sounds dirty, too.
I know, there's really not a clean way to say it. So 2014, when he was just running ovals, he finished 22nd.
So that's not a great data point.
It's not the greatest to look at. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, I also feel like you have to do a lot more to get the pull of the Indy 500. So the fact that it is worth more points makes sense. A big complaint of Texas with that whole shit show that it was and all the crashes is that, the purse was not even $40,000, even if you won. And so you are losing all of this money in potentially destroying your car in this race to take home $40,000. I mean, that's not even enough to pay your engineer's salary. It's not.
No, I mean, you're taking people out to McDonald's when you win.
Yeah.
Not Taco Bell.
Yeah, we're ordering off the dollar menu, bitches. And So I think that, that kind of has should play a role as well. You do a lot more at the Indy 500, so it should count for more because you have to go out and qualify to make it in the race altogether.
Yeah.
But you have to qualify for the Fast 9, and then the Fast 9 have a shootout. Everywhere else, you do your qualifications, and maybe they, work it down Group 1, Group 2, and then there's, the fastest go again or whatever. But it's not this, 2-day event that involves a shootout with the fastest 9
and we've been there when it's like right before the gun cuts out, somebody is hopping out
comes
there
out
and you're just like
try to go again and it's very exciting, but it's also 4 laps, which no other track does that. And so the amount of time that you're on the track trying to reach these speeds increases your risk of stuffing into the wall and destroying your car. And so to not take that into account when you assign points, I think is unfair and kind of short-sighted.
Yeah, I agree. Now they're still debating it.
Yeah, well, I'm staunchly against it.
I mean, yeah, I would give people the quals points. Obviously, I would never be I would never be for them taking the double points.
No, definitely not for the race. I mean, the quals points I do somewhat understand, but
I get it.
But I still think that it's a
big race. It's a big race. I mean,
it's a more rigorous qualifying process than other races.
Definitely.
So I think that you should get rewarded points-wise for that.
And maybe you should just stop complaining, people.
Yeah.
Maybe you should realize that BIMS is as great as there ever was. Just gonna leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. Testing blackout is December 16th through January 7th. So the cars are rolling off the tracks here in about another week. Ish.
Yep. And
then we won't see them until the new year. And then I think that's when we're going to see everybody start to test.
Yeah.
So announcements need to be made.
Yeah, they do.
Ed. Dale.
Looking at you.
And then finally, I didn't write this down because it's happening currently as we're recording on Sunday. The USF 2000 shootout is happening. So
it is.
So little kid, I mean, they're like 12. They're not 12.
But they might as well.
They might as well be 12. And good luck to all of them. Hopefully, it seems real exciting. I guess they practice in a car, then they have to go out in another. So it's like a whole 2 days of them being watched, and they have to switch their cars out, so they're not staying in that same car the whole time.
Oh wow!
And I was like, that's kind of a fun twist.
It is.
So that's happening right now. Good luck to those kids, and we'll see what happens.
Say they're the up and coming drivers of the future. So
the drivers of tomorrow. Today.
Oh, all right. What do you want to do next?
Well, we can just roll on into safer.
Okay, so the safer barrier.
Our safety talk continues.
It does.
So obviously the safer barrier and its predecessors were the wall. When we say you're stuffing it into the wall, we're saying the safer barrier.
Yes.
Way back when on road courses it was like a tire barriers, maybe some sand barrels, styrofoam blocks, gravel traps, which we see a lot.
Yep.
Guardrails, and then just the earth.
Yep.
Just the earth. Ovals, way back when, were reinforced concrete walls. Good for spectators, bad for drivers.
Yeah. No.
You know who wins that fight? Not you. You don't win a fight against a concrete wall.
No.
You don't.
No, you don't.
So one of the things that they tried to do was between the 70s and 90s, they thought, well, let's see if we can't make the car so it breaks apart safely. Which I suppose looked good on paper.
Yeah, I think in theory that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole, I can't think of it, but there are a few things that they engineer so if something happens, it breaks apart safely.
Yes.
Well, like the glass on our...
On your windshield.
Yeah, your windshield glass is not supposed to just shatter. It's supposed to just kind of almost
cave in.
It
like spider webs across and it all stays together.
Yeah. So in theory,
rather
great
than
idea.
A million shards of glass fly at your face. So in theory, things like that.
But I think at 200 miles an hour, that's not really what I'd like to hang my hat on. No.
And as it turned out, that was not for the best.
That was not for the best. So they started off with the PEDs, or PEDs, which is how I've been pronouncing it.
Yep.
The polyethylene, which is plastic. Energy dissipating system. Dissipating. sometimes I can't speak. It's fine. I don't do it for a living.
And that was in 98.
That was 98. So basically it was plastic cylinders along the concrete wall and then what amounted to plastic shingles covering that.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Problem is it broke very easily. So you would just have barriers scattered across the track. So now you have to pause. Now you've got a long cleanup. And apparently when a car would hit it, it would do what they legitimately called a trap and spin. So you would hit the wall and then just flip around and hit it again and just kind of...
And just keep hitting.
Kind of like a cartwheel of not greatness.
Yeah.
So that didn't work.
No.
So, IRL, in its infinite wisdom, turned to the University of Nebraska. So...
Cornhuskers?
Is that Iowa?
No, it's Nebraska.
Okay. I thought Cornhuskers, and I was like, shit, is it Iowa?
No.
Okay.
The Cornhuskers is Nebraska.
I was going to say, I think that's a Big 10 school. I believe that's a... No, are they Big 12?
I think they might be a Big 12.
Gosh. Well, never mind. But they talked to the Cornhuskers and said they want a device that's got a flush surface so you wouldn't have that weird catch and pivot with the shingles. It needed to be retrofitted because tracks had all sorts of barriers in place and, I think for ease of putting it in there and for cost effectiveness.
Oh, absolute cost effectiveness. Because you can have the best idea in the world, but if it's going to cost a track, more money than they're going to be bringing in, they're not going to put it in.
So that was one of the things.
Still a business.
Still a business. They wanted somehow to prevent the car from bouncing up to the racing, so hitting it and then bouncing back, aka the secondary accidents. Mm-hmm. The follow-up accidents is kind of how I thought about it. Withstand both IndyCar and NASCARs, because, fine NASCAR. Again, easy to repair and, of course, cost effectiveness. Whew.
Makes sense.
So they got the safer barrier.
Which stands for Steel and Foam Energy Reduction Barrier. Or the acronym SAFER. Somebody got a lot of money for that.
I know. I mean, I secretly love it, though.
Oh, I love it. I love a good acronym.
Who doesn't?
I mean, my whole life is acronyms.
That's true.
Yeah, I love a good acronym.
That's true.
So we've got structural steel tubes that are welded together in a flush mounting, strapped in place to the existing concrete retaining wall. Behind these tubes are bundles of closed-cell polystyrene foam placed between the barrier and the wall.
Okay, kind of like a sandwich.
It is, yeah, with the foam in the middle.
Yeah, little cheese.
So how it works, the barrier absorbs a portion of the kinetic energy when the car makes contact with the wall. The energy travels along a portion of the wall. Impact energy back onto the car is reduced so that the car isn't propelled back into traffic.
So basically it's absorbing all the energy.
It is. So kind of the same way when you think about, things that absorb sound.
Yeah.
I remember when I was, doing science as a kid, we would do all these different things with okay, if you put carpet on a wall, that makes it absorb sound better. Or, like egg carton things. And, we tried all these different things to absorb sound, little easy science experiments. But, sound is a type of energy.
Yes.
And so kinetic energy works the same way. You have to, develop something that's going to absorb that so that it doesn't, cause that car to bounce back out. So they did.
They did.
And it's worked quite well.
It is. 2002 it was installed at the IMS. There actually was a big crash during day one of practice to test it. It worked. And then by 2006, all ovals with IndyCar and NASCAR had a safer barrier. I know that I think a lot of road courses have implemented. I think a few of the older ones probably are still working on it. Yeah. And then again, some of the road courses, when you've got the turns and the grass and things like that, I think that's kind of one of the bigger issues.
Yeah. As to where exactly do you put the barrier how do you...
Because I'm kind of thinking about our road course, that turn one, that where are you going to put it?
Yeah.
You just, bye everybody, and just go spinning out into the grass. So.
Yeah, which, I think it's that way with a lot of road courses, and that's on purpose as well. Because the grass on the road courses isn't as damning as grass on an oval. And part of that is that if you get off course, it does slow you down so that you don't, go careening into the crowd or whatever. And it also prevents you from wanting to go into the grass to get off course because you're not actually going to get ahead. It's going to slow down your car.
Yeah.
So it kind of has a twofold benefit. But yeah, you wouldn't want to have a safer barrier around every single little curve in a road course. And also sometimes if there's a crash or something, there's a lot of people caught up in something, you want to be able to exit the area.
I know, but if you think about it, the road courses, it's the same width, I imagine. The track, it just seems, well, no, it's not. But the road courses just always seem much more narrow. The road is narrow. You can't go 3 wide on a road course. I don't know well, they tried to do it a couple of times, but
yeah, that's not.
Somebody went airborne. Connor.
Yeah, no, they did not successfully do that. So, but that's awesome that all the ovals have it.
Yes, for both IndyCar and NASCAR.
Well, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's pretty safe. Pretty safe.
Yeah, and I know in NASCAR, one of the things that they have looked at with their safety was after Dale Earnhardt passed away.
Yeah.
So I know that they're big supporters of the safer barrier and the other safety things that they have put into their cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's all about safety, guys.
It is. Now the catch fence. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, not as great as a safer barrier. Because with the catch fence, you really have a very strong competing problem. You want to protect your drivers if the car goes airborne. Obviously, you want to protect your spectators if the car goes airborne or pieces. And the problem is you can't block the view.
No.
And having sat behind the fence, even sitting behind the fence is kind of shitty at times.
It can be.
Like, a lot of, like, for practice days and whatnot, we're like, well, we're going to go higher so we don't have the fence right in front of us.
Yeah, we don't want the fence blocking our view at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is.
And I think they're still working on it. I mean, basically what it is, it's a much more advanced version of your chain link fence.
Yes.
I mean, the tensile strength is different, the wire gauge is different, the fabric connection is all different, but that's how it works.
How it's interlaced is all different.
Yeah, and it's the way that a good catch fence should work is that the fence should mesh, should kind of cradle it almost without breaking, and then the energy is kind of transferred to the poles, and obviously the poles nearest the impact would bend. Well, actually, one of the big issues is the poles, because that's kind of a big object is moving an immovable object. So that's one of the biggest issues right now. And they haven't quite fixed it, but that pole is kind of the big problem right now.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, and I'm sure somebody somewhere is making a lot of money figuring it out.
Yeah.
But that's the catch fence and the safer barrier. Catch fence.
Yep. And, even though it's still a work in progress, it has done some really good things. I mean, this year, Scott Dixon's crash at the Indy 500.
Yeah, could have been a lot worse.
I mean, that catch fence he bounced off of that thing.
I mean, still to this day, we don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
In fact, I was like, well, let me see. And I was like, Googling, and everybody was like, yeah, we don't know. I mean, I think it was the combination of everything.
Nobody knows how it was possible for him to walk away.
To walk away. Just get up out of the car.
And be like, all right, guys.
It's cool.
Anybody feel like some Taco Bell?
I could go for a gordita right now, man. Chalupa? No? Okay.
Cinnamon twist, please.
Oh.
Right? I've forgotten.
Nobody remembers the cinnamon twists till you're there and go,
oh, that's right.
That's right.
Oh, well, very interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not perfect because if pieces fly above the fence, then they don't get caught.
They don't get caught. It's still kind of a work in progress.
It is, but I don't know what the solution would be.
I don't know either.
And if you've never read the fine print on your ticket when you go to a race,
well,
you absolve the track of you dying.
Perhaps you should.
Molly's first race, she started reading. She was like, wait a second. Did you know that we can't sue them?
To be fair, I read the ticket, and then it was like the extra sheet that we had to sign that I got yelled at for reading.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we went to the pits.
But everybody forgets.
You're a lawyer.
I have to read it.
Yeah.
I have to read it.
I know. Well, and you asked me, you were like, you didn't read it, and I was like, I've read it before. I imagine the language is about the same.
You basically are like, it's really not anybody's fault.
Yeah, It
is an act of God.
You may or may not die while you're there.
It's fine.
Because things can fly off, so.
Yeah, at a high speed. At a high rate of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. Safety is definitely better than it ever has been.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Kind of nice to looking at all of this. Feeds our souls.
It does.
It does. Well, shall we?
I think we shall. Shit we didn't make up. So, Hoosiers love racing.
I think it goes without saying.
I think so. We are the racing capital of the world.
Yes. In fact, our little quarter, I didn't realize this, had a race car on it.
You didn't know that?
I did. I didn't remember it.
Didn't remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember when that happened because it was, because I've lived in Speedway my whole life, basically. So,
yeah,
it was like a BFD of like, we made the state quarter.
We made the state quarter, guys.
So, but yeah, and it's not just a racing car. It's an Indy car.
Yes. Let's be clear about that.
It's not a stock car. It's not a formula car. It is an Indy
car on the Indiana quarter.
I mean, the Indy 500, I would say, is the thing that Indiana is most well known for. Countrywide.
Yeah.
I mean, even like when we went to Hawaii, the bellhop that helped us get our bags to the room asked where we were from, and we said Indiana, and he goes, "Oh, like the Indianapolis 500." And we were like, "Yes, exactly like that,
100%."
And then turned out that he was.
We can never escape this.
Bit of an IndyCar fan. Even on an island in Hawaii,
they know.
So yeah, I think that it is very much intertwined with our history and our identity.
It really is, and I think the state itself does a really great job of helping promote motorsports. Like, there's a whole motorsport commission, and we've kind of helped out. So, like, even in our code, so like a law was written, 2 laws were written actually. Laws were written, our whole assembly voted on it. So a professional racing team based in Indiana, so you have to be here. Sales of race cars and their parts exempt from sales tax.
Well, I'd say that's a pretty damn good reason to have a racing team here.
Just saying. Except for tires and accessories, which I don't quite know what they got them dice hanging off the mirror? Or...
No, I would imagine, like, earpieces.
Yeah.
Gloves. Like...
Sorry, and I don't know if that would even be included in general, because I don't know if the fire suit is.
Yeah. I would imagine anything else you can plug into the car, specialty...
Kind of specialty stuff.
Yeah.
Your air fresheners are not covered.
Fuzzy dice. Not going to make the cut.
Your little tire mats, your little feet mat, it's not happening. But you get a exempt from sales tax. Let's see, our state's Economic Development Corporation, our IEDC, they worked with Chevy and Honda to drive down the cost of these new aero kits for teams.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and also there's like a bonus savings for Indiana-based teams again. Huh. So not only is it good to be a gangsta, but it's also good to be a Hoosier.
It sure is.
Sure is.
Damn, it feels good to be a Hoosier.
And
it's our statehood day this week, isn't it?
Yes, on Monday.
So what is that, the 11th?
Yes. So December 11th, 1816, Indiana was officially created a state. So last year the big theme was 200 before and 200 more, and now it's 201 years.
Well, that's awesome.
So happy birthday, Indiana.
Happy birthday, Indiana.
You stay classy, Indiana. And by the way, our track got some little bonuses too from our General Assembly.
That's right, they did.
So leading up to the 100th, they kind of went through and did a lot of upkeep on the track. They did a whole shit ton of shit. And so the state created a bond. So the state gives you money and then you pay it back. And it was, gosh, darn it, how much was it?
$95 million.
Thank you. $95 million, and
just a little bit of money.
Just a scotch. But it's paid back over 20 years, and that is through, there was an increase in tickets, so part of the fees that you're going to see on your ticket is actually repaying this money. And then probably the area around it also got a tax increase. And that's actually not uncommon, before everybody gets up in arms. It's not uncommon, especially around any sort of large sporting institution. So your stadiums do this, your field houses do this, any of your professional sports team, if they have a new stadium, this is how they pay for it.
Yeah.
This is also how you pay for things like roads and schools and sewers. It's par for the course.
Well, and I will say, because when they did increase the ticket prices, they hadn't increased ticket prices for the Indy 500 in years.
Yeah.
I mean, in at least 10 years, I feel like. So it had been a long time prior to this. Yeah. I mean, but it's a great race, and paying $20 more for a ticket is not going to stop me from going.
I mean, they really did a lot. I can't think of any.
They did. Well, they updated a lot of the stands, a lot of the grandstands. So they put a lot of work into it, and also it was in the midst of the whole, 100th, the centennial
Yeah,
era.
it's a big run up for it and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, this started a little bit, because it started in 2015, but
it was so fun to go to that race.
it was so much fun.
It was so awesome.
It was great.
Hashtag isn't May yet.
Is it May yet?
Oh man,
So, well, that's cool.
that's my favorite hashtag.
It's mine too.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we abuse it a little bit on our
Oh,
social
we
media.
100% abuse it. I'm fine with that though.
Speaking of social media.
Speaking of social media, so we do abuse that hashtag and many others on our Twitter, where you can find us at FastCarsN317. You can check us on our Instagram at FastCarsFastGirls. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/FastCarsFastGirls, or by simply searching Fast Cars Fast Girls in the search bar. You can also find us on iTunes, the Google Play Store for our podcast. Just search Fast Cars Fast Girls. We're also on Stitcher, TuneIn, Blurberry,
Last.fm. We're on like everything. It's fine.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Except for iHeartRadio
Kind
and
of a big
Spotify.
deal.
That's it.
Yeah, we're not on Spotify or iHeartRadio.
I'm working on it.
Yep. We're
Yet.
getting there. We're getting there.
We're also on YouTube.
We are on YouTube, so search Fast Cars Fast Girls on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. We put out some videos.
Yeah, every now and then.
We're getting better about that. And then also make sure you check out our website, fastcarsfastgirls.com.
Because it's a real website.
It's a real website now, so we put some work into it, some photos, and we will continue to add things. But
it also has a link there that it will take you to every single site that hosts us.
So you can subscribe directly from there.
In fact, we have a little page that's subscribe, and if you go there, you can choose.
You can choose which one you want.
Or you can just listen to them right off of our homepage.
You sure can.
I have not made this any easier if I went to your house and personally downloaded it onto your phone.
So if you can also just, if you see us, just ask us, and we will sign up for automatic downloads and notifications on your phone for you.
I've had practice.
We're a real grassroots campaign as far
click,
as that
click,
goes.
click. There you go.
There you go.
Enjoy.
I just had a friend text me today that said, "How do I find your podcast? I know you signed me up, but I can't remember how you did it."
I get that a lot. I usually like, where do I find it again? I'm like, go here.
Yeah.
So go to your podcast app and search for us. We're there.
We're there.
We're there. So let us know.
Give us a like. Give us 5 stars. Write a review.
And share us.
Share us with your friends and family.
I mean, the holidays are coming up. I'm just saying.
Give the gift of laughter. We're hilarious.
We really are.
All right. Our Woman Crush Wednesday.
Our Women Crush Wednesday is Maud, M.A., the initials, Yeagle.
Maud Yeagle, M.A.
And as two people who have grandma middle names, I kind of feel a kinship to Maud already.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, 1929, she was the first female owner to win the Indianapolis 500 when her driver, Ray Keach, won that year.
Yes.
So 1929, as an owner.
As an owner. So she was an owner from like 29 to 32.
What a badass.
That's I mean, and to put it as in perspective, so like she was the first, and actually the only female owner. The only female owner. In 1929, the next real female involvement came in 1976 with Janet Guthrie.
Yeah. So she was way ahead of her time. 50 years ahead of her time.
Exactly. And like so much ahead of her time is she wasn't even allowed like in the pits or the garage area.
Even though she was an owner. So she had to do all her shit from the grandstands. Can you imagine?
Maud, I feel ya. Having to do all of our shit from the I get it. It's kind of hard to write shit down.
It is.
Play drinking games. Keep track of your cars.
I bet she probably stayed more sober than we do.
Yeah, I would imagine she wasn't playing drinking games.
I mean, you never know though.
She might.
She might. She was a team owner.
She
might have gotten wild during Prohibition. You never know.
So that's kind of exciting. The first female owner
to win. Exciting.
The first female owner winner. I mean, still the only one.
Yeah, still the only female owner to have won. So,
which maybe if we had some more female owners out there, we wouldn't still be dealing with all the bullshit we're dealing with.
All the bullshit sexism that we deal with. Correct.
Well. Damn it. Speaking of sexism.
So, Carmen Jorda was appointed to the Women's Commission.
The Women in Motorsports Commission, yes.
Yeah.
Women and.
And their mission statement, to just paraphrase it, basically says to support women in wherever area of motorsport they are in, blah, blah, blah.
This is Carmen Jorda, who you know.
As the female driver who is now the front person, the poster child for the separate women's league.
You know, women should have their own series. Women and men can't compete together, and life is not fair.
Yes.
That's who got put on this commission.
Yes, because she is doing so much for equality and women. Let's put her on a commission. Now,
her little tweet, she was like, driving for change. And I was like, I want to fly to wherever she is.
I'm going to show you driving for change. So I'm torn on my feelings with Carmen Jorda. Because I think it's all bullshit fuckery.
Right.
And I want to share a quote from Bertie Ecclestone. He was once quoted as saying to Danica Patrick that all women should wear white like the rest of domestic appliances. So this is the man who's in charge of F1.
Yes.
And he's the one who is really pushing for this.
Yeah.
And so I would say that his intentions in this are extremely clear. Mm-hmm. He is very clearly sexist, does not respect women in general, much less in racing or competing equally among men. And I would say that he would enjoy watching the demise of women in motorsport, because I think that this separate championship is going to do nothing but set women in motorsport back.
I would 100% agree.
And I think that he knows that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's the reason behind this.
Yes.
And I just think that that's a whole different level of...
evil? I don't know.
Evil feels like a strong word, but maliciousness.
I like that word a little bit better than
maliciousness. It's very
conniving.
It's very angering to me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
What's unfortunate about this is that he has this position of power and he has money and influence.
Yeah.
And as we discussed over the summer, Pippa made a call to not pick on, any drivers that sign up for this, because you don't know necessarily what their finances are and where they're coming from. And so I feel some sympathy for Carmen Jorda, because she's not a great driver.
Yeah.
And even if she was, it is very hard to get ahead as a woman in motorsport, but she's not a great driver. And so I don't think that she, no matter how hard she tried, was ever going to really get where she wanted to be, because she doesn't have the talent and the skill and the ability. Mm-hmm. She did bring a lot of sponsorship money. That's how she got her seat as a test driver. Even though she was outperformed by many other drivers, she brought the most money.
Yeah.
And so I think that Bernie is throwing around his money to get her to sign on to this. And so I have some sympathy for her, because she's just doing what she can to have a job, but at what cost?
I mean, I get that. On a, I don't know what level, but there is part of me that realizes she's doing that because it's almost like she has to. If she wants to do anything in motorsports, she's somehow pigeonholed herself into this role of separate but equal. And I think it probably started off with a way to get a ride, to get a drive. I mean, like we talked about, the carrot is dangling out there. If you go through this, if you win, you get a test drive. Yeah. You're going to be a test drive. Hey.
You get a chance.
To
possibly do something at some point.
And I think I don't know. So maybe we're wrong. I don't know her history, but I think at some point maybe she wasn't like this. I would like to assume that she wasn't.
I would like to assume that as well.
And I think it's kind of that.
I would think that she had to have been different, because I don't know why you would have put that much time into it and put so much of your life into something if the whole time you really thought that you shouldn't be there.
Right. I mean, if for the whole time she thought, well, men and women can't compete at the same sport, the same level, then why
didn't you quit sooner?
Right. So I think at some point maybe she had great intentions, and it just, I hate to use the word and the phrase slippery slope, because I hate it, but it's the best analogy. She started thinking these things, she started saying these things, and it just sort of, it's kind of putting your thoughts out there, and your thoughts become your actions, and then they become everything that you do. Mm-hmm. And I do feel...
thoughts become your actions become your behaviors your character,
Yeah, and I think that might have been what happened, and I think it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, and I think that Bernie Ecclestone is using that opportunity.
Yes.
I think that he is using and abusing that. And I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He has found somebody that, sees that there's something unfair, and, but she's in a hard spot where she's not going to get sponsorship money. She's not going to, get the spot in driving that she wants. And this is a chance for her to have a ride, even if it is only for 6 races.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't have right now.
Yeah.
And so it's very frustrating to me.
It is, and as angry as we have gotten, and as angry as we still are, I'm very proud of us being calm right now.
I am too.
I mean, there's a part of me that just wants to shake her a little bit.
That just wants to rage.
And there's also a part of me that just wants to have a good sit down with this woman and go,
did nobody ever tell you that you can do anything?
Right, like...
my dad would introduce himself as Mr. Birdie.
Mm-hmm.
Birdie's my mom's name. And, so I was raised by 2 feminists.
Yeah.
And, my dad neither of my parents, my dad or my mom,
right.
never, told me that being a woman limited me on what I could do or what I could be.
I think you and I both are very blessed to have that.
Yeah, very blessed.
Yeah.
And not everybody is. And so... it's like, I would love to sit down with her and say,
"Boo boo, what happened?"
Yeah,
like,
you can do this.
Yeah,
it's not a woman thing.
No,
if anything, it's her specific skill set.
Because I did get a little petty and looked up some stuff.
Well, yeah, and she just doesn't have good stats.
No,
but it has nothing to do with you being a woman. It's just you're not as good as other people.
Yeah, and at some point and that's not sexist to say that either, by the way. Like, I do want to say that out there. It is not sexist to look at somebody, especially in a gender-neutral sport like this, and be like, the woman's not that great.
Yeah, no. No, I got no problem saying when a man's not that great. I got no problem saying when a woman's not that great. And it's unfortunate because she has had a lot of notoriety because she is beautiful. Mm-hmm. She's had, some modeling stuff. And, again, Danica Patrick did that. But Danica Patrick, I don't think, would ever stand for a separate sport.
I do not believe
She's never going to stand up and say that, men are better than women and that we should be separated. And so I think, we've discussed in the past, that, Danica Patrick used her sexuality to sell stuff and get sponsorship. And I'm not necessarily mad at her for that.
No, I'm not.
I'm mad that we have a society where that's still necessary, but I'm not mad at her for using that. And she used it to her advantage. And it, made her a household name. It increased, just the thought and expectation of women in motorsport exponentially. Mm-hmm. Having a female driver used to be an afterthought, and now...
People can name female drivers.
They're household names.
Yeah.
And so Carmen Jorda, unfortunately, did not use her
beauty.
She's
very pretty.
And, she's good with PR. So it's not just that she's pretty, because if you're an asshole and you look good, you still have to interact with people. And so I think that she has a lot of skills and talents with that she could have used in a better way.
I agree.
And being in the sport, she could have, gone into being... not on the track, but on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. Or working with a team and, doing all these things to better women in motorsport. And instead, she ends up doing this.
Yeah.
I understand there's not as much fame and, name notoriety and recognition if you're more behind the scenes than on the track, but still.
But you get your soul.
You get your soul.
So you're not selling out the sisterhood.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me is sad, but the other part, there's just a part of me that just is so pissed right now. And yeah, I'm part... And I hope that I never see Bernie Ecclestone face to face for many reasons. Yeah.
Mostly, I can't go to jail again.
I can't go to jail, period.
Yeah, you can't go to jail, period, but I really can't go again. It just once, okay. That's a blip. Twice is a pattern. Twice is a pattern of bad decisions. Although I would not consider kicking Bernie Ecclestone's ass a bad decision.
No.
But yeah, he is in charge of the F1 and that whole thing, and I'm sure is behind her appointment to this commission. And it feels like he is just pulling the puppet strings.
Yep, there it is.
He has got her in a place. He found a yes woman, as it were.
Yeah.
And, has offered her enough money, enough notoriety, enough fame, so that she's going along with it, to appease her just enough to sell out her soul. And now he's the puppet master and has her inside this commission that wants to do the opposite of what Bernie Ecclestone wants to do.
Yeah.
And now she's on this commission to destroy it from within. It's very much like a Trojan horse.
It really is. Oh, I like that. Yeah. It is.
And it's sad and it's shameful to me that's where we're at. I will say that I have loved all of the support.
It's been great.
of Pippa Mann and of other people who've spoken out against this that we have seen across social media from women and a shit ton of men.
Thank you, men.
Thank you, men.
Let's go.
I mean, I was going through, and I would say, there are a lot of women, that we're talking about it, but there are a lot more men fans in general.
Yeah.
And I saw so many comments from men just going off about how women are completely equal in the car, that doesn't make any difference, just giving Carmen Jordan the business about this.
Yes.
And the FIA.
Yeah.
And so, I love that. And
that.
It warmed my heart. I was like, hell yeah.
We're like, we are rising up as a fan base.
Yes. So, because fans don't want this either.
No, I have not seen, and maybe they're just not putting it out there on social media for a good reason. Anybody who thinks this is a great idea, aside from the people who put it together.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else has been like, I think this is a great idea. Like, nobody's saying that, because everybody goes, no, this is stupid. This is stupid.
I've seen a few in support, but...
You do handle the late night Twitters.
I do. I handle the late night tweets. So I've seen a few in support, but...
That just irritates me again.
It does.
Dang it.
I read a very funny tweet in Spanish last night that I'm not even going to repeat on this podcast.
Oh, hi.
It was basically like, get fucked.
Yeah, I mean, that's really our reaction to all of this.
Yeah, we're following them now.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I was like, you gotta follow.
There's some that pop up and I'm like, I don't think I follow these. I don't know what they're saying.
Right. I know what they're saying.
I know.
So, but yeah, I have very much enjoyed how much
support
against it that the racing community has provided. And I love that men are speaking out. I would love to hear other drivers, although I don't know that they're technically going to be allowed to say anything about this, but I would love to know what male drivers think about this.
I know, and we retweeted it, and I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but somebody else on the commission popped off.
Who actually is an engineer.
Yeah, and she
was like, before I say anything else, I already have a meeting to talk to them directly.
And I was like, get some.
Yeah, it was,
I can see it, and I just can't see the name.
Lena Gade, or I think it's Lena Gade.
Sounds, yeah.
Yeah, Lena Gade.
There's like an L and a G, yeah.
Yep, Lena Gade, and she has been an engineer with F1 for quite a few years and is quite the badass herself, and she's on the commission.
Yeah.
And
she basically was like, what?
Yeah. What?
What did you say?
What did you just say to me? So
come again? Good
for her. And I hope that more women that are in those positions voice their concerns to the FIA to say this is a really bad idea.
That's how, I mean, you know what, we have to stay woke on this, apparently.
We do have to stay woke.
It's time to stay woke, people. Yes.
Time to stay woke.
Yes.
We're always woke.
Well, that's true. We're children of rebels and hippies. So what can we say?
Right.
I'm always woke.
Children of the revolution.
Oh, good song.
That's a good song. That is a good song. So stay woke. Sexism isn't going anywhere just yet. But hopefully we can kill this thing before it gets off the ground.
I would really like that.
I would love to see that happen.
Although secretly. Do I want it not to happen? Yes, I want it not to happen. But if it happens...
Oh, I'm going to watch it crash it. I'm going to watch it crash and burn like the dumpster fire it is.
And if that...
I want a front row
If that
seat.
U.S. race is anywhere in the vicinity, it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's going down.
We're going to protest.
To protest, obviously.
Yeah.
We don't have to buy tickets. We'll save money.
Yeah, we're just going to stand out front.
Maybe somebody could throw us a beer while we're there.
I mean, I was going to bring a cooler. If you thought for a second I was going to protest sober.
We're still bringing coolers to the track.
I'm still going to tailgate.
It's a protest tailgate.
That would be the biggest protest ever. I don't think other protests advertise alcohol as welcome.
Well, there you go.
Oh. Yeah, I would hope that it's not at our track, because that would break my heart.
I don't think it will be.
I can't imagine.
Just don't feel like
some of the people that I know at IMS, I can't imagine that that's going to fly.
They're quality people. I don't think any amount of money is worth that. No. I don't think so.
Yeah, the women who are
there,
I don't think so.
I don't think
they're going to be having any part of that.
None of it.
Well, and You know, in conversations we've had with Doug Bowles, there's not a single part of me that believes that he has any interest in segregation
and the people
of any kind.
I know there and in other parts of him, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. So good.
Good for sure.
Now we're going to have to road trip it.
Yep.
It's a protest road trip.
It's a protest road trip.
Oh, God. Well, we had the opportunity to sit down with my father.
We did. We did. So he's had a new set of lungs for 5 years.
We had him tell a couple of stories about racing because he's also a motorsport fan. Avi,
born and raised in Indiana.
Well, no, he was actually raised in California for a while.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
But it's okay. He also was here, too. So we had him tell his two favorite... We had to limit him to 2 stories right now. And please don't tweet at us that you really liked him, because that will not help me. Okay? If you like him, keep it to yourself. If you don't like him, keep it to yourself, too, because I don't care. So he told us some racing stories. And
no, definitely tweet if you liked him. He'll love it.
God.
I mean, we're going to have him on again. He'll be at some of the races with us this summer.
That's true.
So...
He is coming.
Yeah.
Well, he's basically our DD.
He is. He's our DD.
It's nice to have a built-in DD, what can you say?
It is.
Our golf cart DD.
Yeah.
GDD?
I guess so.
I don't know. Well, you can still get one on a golf cart. Anyway,
Yeah.
And then because we are supporters of the Driven to Save Lives campaign and Orho Nation, we had him tell his story, which is a very big deal for donor families and transplant recipients. Is their story. So we had him tell our story, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Well, here with us this week, we got Molly's dad, Chick Hilliker, to talk about his transplant, because it is his transplantiversary week.
Indeed.
It is. 5 years ago, got a brand new set of lungs. But you've also been a motorsport fan for a lot of years, and you've even raced in a few.
That's probably taken a little liberty with
Little liberty? All right. Sure.
I grew up in Bloomington and following the 500 ever since I was a kid. My parents would go every year in the 50s, and we'd sit outside and listen to the race and take the Indianapolis Star Sheet and keep track every lap. But probably the 2 best stories I have, a friend and I went up to Elkhart Lake. Actually, it was in August of 1968. Because driving up the day before the race, we decided to take a little detour and drive through downtown Chicago the day after the riots at the Democratic National Convention. It was kind of interesting. I mean, there are mobs of National Guard with guns everywhere. You could still smell the tear gas in the air. There's just trash and wreckage everywhere. And we're driving along Michigan Avenue in front of Grant Park, and I looked down and my gas meter was on empty. And it's not easy finding a gas station in downtown Chicago. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to run out of gas, and nobody's going to find us till they pull our car out of the lake, and our bodies will be in the back, because the police are not taking kindly to out-of-state college kids at that point. But we managed to make it out there. We're up at Elkhart Lake, beautiful, sitting on a hillside, watching them come out of this valley. And the valley was really neat because it just echoed the sound more. This was a Can-Am race, so you had everything from big block Chevys and Fords to Ferraris. Just amazing mixture and sound mixture. And I'm watching the race, and my friend goes up to get us something to eat. Pretty soon he comes running down, he's got 2 things. He says, guess what? You can buy beer when you're 18 in Wisconsin.
Game changer.
The race over, we don't care. We're drinking the legal beer. My friend just absolutely got white. So the race is over, and we're in my Mercury Cougar, and we're in line, normal traffic out of a race, and I notice there's a picket fence which has been knocked over, and there's tire tracks. I thought, shortcut. So I head down this little hill, end up on this road. I'm driving along, and suddenly it dawns on me, I'm on the course. This is just absolutely cooler than shit. And I'm just hitting it with this cougar, roaring around this course. I go down this little straight. It's a sharp 90-degree right hand up this hill. And I just kick it as soon as I get out of the corner. Go flying up over this hill, a little bit airborne, looking at the crowd in the middle of the track for the ceremonies. I've never done a faster 180 in my life. But that was fun.
That sounds like a blast.
The other one was I went down to the Daytona 500. It was February '68 because I was a freshman at Purdue at the time. And my dad and my stepmother were there. And so when they used to have like 2 qualifying races on Saturday, then the real race on Sunday. I'm not certain how they do it nowadays. But we're heading into traffic, and my dad just kind of flips down his visor. And all of a sudden, it's like police are stopping everything, and waving us through. I'm looking up there, and there's something strapped to the front of the visor. I said, well, did you get a special parking permit? My dad goes, yeah, kind of. I said, where are we sitting? Where are our tickets? Oh, I don't know. I haven't got them yet. You haven't got them yet? Oh, my gosh. So, well, no, they're at will call. We're going to pick them up. Okay. So they go driving through, and traffic is just parted like the Red Sea. And all of a sudden we pull up to the building, which is the headquarters of NASCAR, which is on the grounds of the Daytona 500. Mm-hmm. And I said, what are we doing here? He said, well, we're picking up the tickets. Yeah, come on. We went in, and my dad's tickets were literally sitting on top of Bill France's desk. Bill France being the NASCAR czar.
Yeah.
And, my dad had always talked about, grew up in California, and all the midget racers and all these drivers that he supposedly knew, but with my dad, he never really believed that kind of stuff. Unlike me, who's a straight shooter from the get-go.
Yeah, I come by it naturally.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it must have been true. We had beautiful seats. I mean, we were just off the start-finish line. And the second day of the race, the actual race, I'd gone out to get some fries, dumped what I thought was salt on them. Turns out it's vinegar, and the people in the South do not know how to eat fries. And I'm walking back through a little tunnel in the stands, and it came out about 6 feet back from the wall. And the wall is banked, and it's a big, heavy wall reinforcement up there. I walked over to the wall to kind of get down and look at a good view, just as a car hit the wall right in front of me. My dad said he saw me come on, I said he'd never seen me move that fast in my life. One moment I was at the wall, the next moment I was back in the tunnel. But went back and I watched Mario Andretti, who of course, is not worthy of the name race car driver. But in this case, I give him kudos. I saw him turn a 180 coming into the front stretch, literally drive the whole length of the front stretch backwards, and then spin around out of it.
Whoa.
I was impressed.
Wow.
That's saying something.
Yeah. Especially for me to say that about Mario.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Especially for you to say that about Mario. Cool.
So I think those were my 2 best racing stories.
Yeah. Well, we could be here forever if we kept going.
Isn't that a microphone?
Yes.
Don't I love it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we're going to be adding to some of these race stories next summer, so.
Yeah.
We may or may not drive the course in Elkhart like again.
Now that we know that's doable.
Yeah, I mean, it sets a certain bar which you have to aspire to.
Yeah.
I feel like next time we just have to hop on the stage. I think it's the only way to top it.
Yeah, that would probably work.
Okay. Yeah, we have our goals.
We do.
Because you're coming with us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure that you knew that.
Somebody's got to drive the go-kart.
Absolutely.
Well, yes, we can.
Not going to be us.
Not going to be us. Yeah, as I cough. What? Oh.
Your show.
I know that. So part of the reason we asked you on, besides your great stories, is that on Saturday, you are celebrating 5 years post-transplant.
That is correct.
And we're big supporters here of the Driven to Save Lives campaign, of the Indiana Donor Network, any donor networks in all states. And we thought it would be nice to hear a story of somebody who received a transplant. There are a lot of very heartwarming stories about donor families, but I think somebody hearing from a recipient is also something that would be really nice. And why don't you tell your story?
Okay. Pardon me.
Also, speak up a bit. Hold on. Okay.
Well, it was the summer of '08, and I had gone outside to mow my grass. Had a push mower. I really enjoyed mowing my grass because it was 45 minutes where just nothing to think about at all except following this line. And I got done, and it was all I could do to literally drag myself into my couch and just fall into it. I was just absolutely whipped. Well, fortunately, I had already scheduled an annual physical, like the following week. Went to see the doctor, and he said, well, we probably ought to do a pulmonary function test, or what's called a PFT. And he sent me to have that done. That's where they have you take a deep breath in, blow it out, see how much force you have, how much volume. I went back to see him, and he said, well, yeah, I think there's something definitely wrong because your volume, your lungs are not up to what they should be. And so he sent me to see one guy, but I couldn't see him for 4 or 5 months, so I got in to see somebody at University Hospital. And went and saw them, talked to them. They did a bronchostomy, which is a very normal thing for transplant recipients and pre-transplant, where they go in and they look at your lungs. And they said, yes, you have what's called idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Idiopathic being a wonderful medical term for we don't have a freaking clue how you got this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll put a big word there so you won't question it. Pulmonary fibrosis literally means your lungs are turning into scar tissue. We said, okay, but here we take this series of prednisone. If that doesn't work, we'll try something else. Well, of course, that didn't work. I tried something else that didn't work. And they said, well, just come in every 3 months and we'll take a look at it, see how you're doing. So my wife and I left, and it was kind of like, we just kind of felt like we got, shoved out the door. And then I did a little research online, come to discover that pulmonary fibrosis is what they call an end-stage disease. End-stage being a wonderful new word, meaning you're going to die. Mm-hmm. It's terminal. I thought, well, that was nice of them, to tell us that. So, being a little frustrated, I got back in to see the original doctor. Ordered a whole battery of tests. I went to see a bunch of different specialists to rule out things. They did what's called a thoracotomy, which where they went in from the back and took out a bigger sample than they do with a bronchostomy. And yeah, it was pulmonary fibrosis, so he referred me to Methodist, to the transplant team there. And my wife and I went in to see Dr. Rowe, who's the chief pulmonary transplant pulmonologist. And in the course of the conversation, Dr. Rowe goes, well, now you have to understand that a transplant is a quality of life issue, not a quantity of life issue. And it was just kind of like, huh? And we both kind of sat there, and finally he said, that's the very normal reaction. People just don't realize that the problem being that once you've had a transplant, the immunosuppressant drugs you have to take so that your body does not reject the lungs opens you up to a whole issue of other problems. Simple things that, an ordinary person would kick off without any problem. Don't do that to a transplant patient, particularly things like flu and pneumonia. But spent 3 days at Methodist going through a whole battery of tests. I had I can't think of it. They went in and looked at your veins around your heart.
Cath, yeah.
Yeah. So I have it on paper that I actually do have a heart.
Debatable.
Because I know that's been questioned at times by people. This was in September of 2009. In January of 10, I was still too well to go on the list. It wasn't until January of 11 that I was on oxygen full time that I actually went on the list. And I started, I think, at number 3 on the list, dropped down to number 8, came back to number 5. But, nothing really happened. And with pulmonary fibrosis, you have a tendency to sort of go along, drop, go along, drop, like that. And unfortunately, in February of 12, I developed what's called a peritoneal cyst, which is an open wound on your backside. And I went to the surgeon, had it stitched up. He did. A week later, the stitches came apart. May he rot someplace. And spent 6 months with the wound care, trying to get this wound healed up because they had to take me off the list. They could not transplant me with an open wound. And during that time, I could do no rehabilitation, could not work out at all. Finally, in September, I went to a surgeon and he did what's called a wound flap surgery, which took care of it. But it turns out I had 5 different bacteria in me.
Overachiever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do it, might as well do it right.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. And what was worse is I had to spend 2 weeks in the hospital flat on my back, could not move. Finally got out, spent 2 weeks at home flat on my back, could not move. All this time I'm taking intravenous antibiotics to clear up all these bacteria that I've got. But finally they cleared it, I was healed, all the bacteria was gone, and so I could start trying to go back to pulmonary rehabilitation, which was a joke. Me going from the car inside the pulmonary rehab, it reminded me a lot of Marley's ghost in Scrooge. How he walks with all the boxes chained to him and following him. I was like that, but only with air canisters. I think at one point I'd get out of the car, we'd have 3 different sets of canisters trying to maneuver myself and them in. But I think the 3rd time I was at rehab, Julie Nelson, who ran it, took one look at me, said, "Sit down," and called Dr. Rowe, who came over, and said, "Okay, we're admitting you." And this was roughly early 1st of December, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Right at the end of November.
And so I was in a hospital, basically just waiting. At this point, I was on like 28 liters of oxygen while I'm lying down, which is a pretty significant flow.
Yeah, it is.
At one point, they did come in and said, "We've got a pair of lungs for you. They're in Texas." So all the nurses, there's 4 or 5 nurses in my room, and they're running around and doing things and giving me an IV of some rejection drug I need to have before the transplant and all this stuff. And everybody's really upbeat and good. And then I see the door open and this small guy in a suit kind of look at one of the nurses and motion her over. And it was the charge nurse, and he's speaking to her. I could just watch her face, just kind of like, oh. And it turns out that when they took the lungs out, they were too badly scarred on the back, so they couldn't use them. So I'm still in the hospital, and one of the funniest things was one time when your mother was there, Dr. Rowe decides he wants me to exercise. Now, I can barely lift my head up at times. I'm so weak. But they bring a stationary bike in my room. And they somehow get me on top of that bike. And your mother was so furious that she had to walk out of the room. That here I am. It's all I could do to move a pedal. And Rose taking a picture of it, I was looking at him working out. I'm like, holy crap, it's gonna kill me.
I think that was after you popped that fever.
Huh?
I think that was after you popped your fever.
Could be, I don't know. Things kind of blur after a while.
That's true.
But then on a Friday, Ro came in and said, I'm having them send me every possible lung that comes up this weekend, because if we don't transplant you this weekend, we're going to have to send you to Mayo or Cleveland, because we're going to have to put you on an ECMO machine, which is a bypass blood air thing. Certainly there's better technology, but and they've never transplanted anybody off an ECMO machine at that point in time. But then Sunday afternoon.
Sunday morning.
Huh?
Sunday morning.
Well, it was not about noon.
Maybe.
Because a bunch of people are coming after church.
That's true.
A bunch of people in the room, and all of a sudden this big guy, wearing kind of a shabby overcoat, steps in the door and says, well, I got a pair of lungs for you. And later, talking to everybody who was in the room that time, we all had the exact same thought. What street corner did this guy get them from? Well, it turns out it was Dr. Harmuth, who was a very excellent thoracic surgeon. And about 3 in the afternoon, I'd say 3 or 4.
Yes.
I went down, and that's the last thing I remember for a while.
Yeah.
I was told at one point in the recovery, they asked me where I was, and I told them I was in Chicago. And they asked me what year it was, and I said 1969. But in spite of that, they still went ahead and woke me up, I guess.
They did. Yeah, I was there for that.
And I was there till...
January 15th?
I thought it was either the 11th or 21st.
It is whatever day is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, because I had that day off of work.
Oh, that's 21st.
And it was the 21st.
I was finally released. I have never had a problem with my lungs. I have gotten a virus that came with my lungs, but the lung themselves have just been spot on ever since. And that's the story.
So you would think that people signing up to be a donor is very important?
It's not very important, it's vital. There are still far more people needing organs than we have on the transplant list. We're fortunate here in Indiana, we do have a high rate of people signing up, but it's never enough. And people don't realize it's not just heart, lungs, kidneys, livers. They do skin grafts, they do bone grafts.
Absolutely.
Eyes, corneas, all types of things. So yes, that's why.
Every kind of tissue.
Yeah. Driven to Save Lives is a great campaign. Donor Network is wonderful. I'm giving a talk at Methodist this Thursday night for Donor Network. And anything that can be done to support them is excellent.
Okay. Anything else you want to say? I'm giving you free reign.
Oh.
We'll consider this your waving of the white flag.
No.
You sure?
Yeah. That's good for now.
Well, obviously he's going to repeat guest.
We all picked up on that term.
Well, yeah, I'm certain this is going to be a big bump in your ratings.
I think so.
I think so.
Once the word gets out that I am on here. I mean, the only thing that could top this is having Pat McAfee here.
Which we're always working towards.
Yeah, well, you won't want to talk to Pat now. He is just in a total funk over the Colts-Bills game.
He has been very upset for his Twitter.
Well, we got shafted royal.
Oh, no. That and it snowed.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, and we're happy he's still around.
We're very happy he's still around.
So we hope you enjoy, and if you haven't already, please sign up to be an organ donor.
Please do.
So It's nothing you can take with you. You don't need your organs once you're dead. You don't need your corneas. You don't need your tissue, your skin, any of that. It can save somebody's life. And
check the box.
So check the box. Check it out.
Yeah. I think it's that time.
Let's white flag it. What you got?
Oh, I'm just very excited. It's the Christmas season. I've still not decorated my tree.
I was going to ask about that.
No, it's not done yet. I meant to. I got a little sick. It might have just been a really nasty hangover from my family Christmas party.
Wine flu.
It was the wine flu. I'll go ahead and call it. So that didn't happen. So next weekend is my big weekend. Because really,
just
that's
in the nick of time.
This always happens to me, though. I'm like, I'm going to get everything up the day after Thanksgiving. And it's the Saturday before Christmas. Like that last weekend before Christmas where I'm like, shit. Mm-hmm.
See, mine was up early since we did the liquor and lights.
Yeah,
early,
see.
and I'm very happy that I did. I'm gonna do that next year. I've done it that early once before, and I really prefer it.
I need to. I take the day off after Thanksgiving. I don't go shopping.
Yeah, but you want to relax and let that food
kind of marinate,
settle, work its way
down
through. Yeah.
So yeah, I've got that. I might be going to the lights 2 other times at least.
Okay.
I know one for sure with people I used to work with, possibly my family again on this weekend. I don't know.
Very cool.
So if there is like a punch card that I can get,
or some frequent flyer miles, maybe.
Doug, I'm just saying, I'm gonna be going there. Like,
is there a bronze badge for the month of December? Is that a thing?
Can I just? What if I just brought my bronze badge?
A green badge.
And said
or a red badge.
It's a bronze badge? This means I could come in.
Right. Doesn't this give me entry except on race days?
I feel like that's what it said.
Oh, during the month of May.
Oh, my calendar says it's May. It's always.
Can I get it, Amy?
It's always May at the track.
Yeah.
All right.
That might work. I mean, depending on which yellow shirt, that might work. You say something cute like that, they might.
They might be like, all right, come on in. That was a good one. We've not heard that one yet.
Come on.
Thank you.
But it's always May in Speedway.
Because the other thing I was going to be like, I'm actually an elf, and I'm late for my shift.
Okay.
I kind of am small and elf-like. I've got a hat.
I think you could do it.
I'm going to wear my elf hat, maybe.
Yeah, with your ears.
I'm late for my shift. Santa here?
I'm supposed to see Santa.
Anyway, what do you have?
My white flag. It's been another exciting week in motorsports.
It has been.
I'm, of course, excited to see what else happens with the Women in Motorsport Commission and Carmen Jorda.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting with bated breath to see how all of that works out. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what we forgot to say? Calmel's and Schmidt-Peterson have dissolved their partnership.
Yeah.
So
how did that not?
Yeah.
The other Schmidt-Peterson Motorsport took.
That's true. We forgot about it. So so they are no longer partnering together for the Indy 500. So way to go, Schmidt-Peterson Motorsport, for not partnering with a murderer. We appreciate it.
Now the driver, by the way, I always want to keep saying this. The driver did not kill anybody.
The driver, no, not the driver.
The financier did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but way to go, Schmidt-Peterson Motorsport.
Way to go. We approve.
Also,
and now I can buy your stuff and not feel guilty.
There's some shit going down because they're in a movie theater or movie studio. I retweeted it. I don't know what's happening, but I'm very excited.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That is exciting.
I know.
Very exciting.
What's happening with Team BFF?
We shall see.
I don't know. Anyway.
We shall see. So, yeah, we got an exciting couple of weeks coming up. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's it. I think we should wave that checkered flag.
We're going to be a little late next week because of your work schedule, so...
We are, so we're not going to come out till Thursday.
Late Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.